Hi everyone, it's Tom Sidney Bushnell here again, aka Numbers. Some of you will know me as. Welcome to Sight Club, that's my channel, but I do a lot of things with the great Charlie Ward on his Charlie Ward Show. So today is Sunday the 6th of September 2020. I just wanted to share a brief message today, probably a little shorter than we usually do, but just to notice some things that have happened in the last few days. And just as an introduction, thank you for all your comments. It's great to connect with everyone around the globe. And those that are new to the things I talk about, the things that I talk with Charlie about, is a basic form of numerology. I like to call it Trumpology because it's exactly what President Trump is doing. And for those that are the first time to this, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be looking at words and references that President Trump makes and other things in the world around us. So, for example, A is the first letter of the alphabet, so A will equal 1. B equals 2, C equals 3, D equals 4, etc., etc. What I would advise you to do is to, after we've spoken, is to work out your own name, and then that will mean something more to you. You'll understand a bit more what Tom Numbers is on about. But to put you in the picture, if you add up President Trump's name, so Trump, T-R-U-M-P, that equals 88. And that's a key to everything, to understanding what we're going to be talking about. So Trump is T, which is 20, R is 18, the 18th letter, U is the 21st letter, M is the 13th letter, and P is the 16th. So if you add all of those together, so 20 plus 18 plus 21 plus 13 plus P comes to a total of 88. Now, a lot of you wouldn't understand that 88 is to do with the Lion's Gate. It's the infinity number of 8. It's the Chinese number for wealth, for resurrection, for regrowth. It's that infinity double loop. And when you've got two of them, 88, it's a super. It multiplies it exponentially, and that's why President Trump's name is 88. And that's the key to everything else that we're going to be talking about. So when he speaks or makes reference to a misspelt word, or emphasizes a word, or drops a letter or two from a word, that's a key marker to listen and pay attention and work out the word he actually said, work out the numerical value of it, and that will give you the basic fundamentals of what he's saying. And then we can go further on that and work out some other maybe messages he's saying as well, because he has the great skill and ability to talk 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 messages at a time with 1 or 2 words or phrases or time points during a presentation. So that's what we're going to be discussing. All right. So yeah, today is Sunday. I had the opportunity earlier to have a great private numerology session with some clients in Australia. So I'll just give a shout out to Lulu, to Leanne, and to Roy. And I think you guys might be hearing from them at some point, probably on Charlie's show pretty soon. But had some really great experiences with them, so that was really cool, guys. Thank you for that. Okay, so today I like to prepare, I like to have my comms ready. So today you'll notice that I'm wearing a salmon coloured t-shirt. Salmon, S-A-L-M-O-N, comes to the value of 74. President Trump is age 74. We've been talking in previous episodes about the colour and the numerical value for orange, and for the letter O, how it's a magic number. It can be 0, which is nothing. 0 itself adds up to the word 0 adds up to 64, which is 8 times 8. So you can see where we're going with that, with the 88. But also it's the 15th letter of the alphabet, so it's O equals 15. So that's a powerful theme and number, and President Trump he'll use different versions of colours and shades. So today I wanted to just emphasise salmon. And some other interesting things about salmon is that it's basically the king of the water. It's the king fish swimming against the tide, swimming against the current, which is what he's doing. He's going against everything, but he's winning. He's going upstream. Q and he talk about the waters, so you think of the waters of the river. And also the skin, what people will know, salmon lovers will know that the skin is very silvery. So 74 is actually a direct mirror image or reflection of 47. 47 is the atomic number for silver. So I thought that was a nice little analogy there. Some other things that I could come up about this. So salmon, and you've got the omega fatty acids. So usually there's a few, but 3, 6, and 9, which are nice Tesla numbers. But if we talk about one which is quite popular, which is the omega-3 fatty acids. So omega comes to 41, which is the same reference, the same numerical value as the word king. I've already spoken about the king fish, salmon swimming up the river, going against the current, going against the tide. The word 3 comes to 56, so 56 is 5 times 6, which is 30. 30 is the numerical value, breaks down to 22 and 8, which is AU for gold. Chemical symbol for gold is AU. Chemical symbol for silver is AG. So, and that's 8. So that's 30. So 22 plus 8 comes to 30. Fatty comes to 72. So 72 are 27. So 77, that divine God number. And President Trump has that all throughout his timelines throughout his life. And acid, ACID, actually comes to 17, which is Q. So Q is the 17th letter of the alphabet, which is, I guess, the litmus test to kind of break us into understanding Trumpology. When you add all those together, that comes to 186. So 186, if you add 18 plus 6, you get to 24. Now 24 is time, so the 24-hour clock. In previous episodes, the one I did with Charlie last time, I spoke about the film TENET and how that film is all about reversal of time, hence the number 42. And I gave an example of an auntie of mine that I had a meeting with her, and there was a guy called Joel that came along on a bicycle. If you watched the previous episode, but Joel, Joel, adds up to 42. So going against time, going against everything else, you can see the parallel there. So if it comes to 24 and it's going against everything else, then it's a reversal of time, hence 42. Also as well, another important number, so 186, if you add 1 to 86, so 186, 1 plus 86 equals 87. 87 are 3 sets of 29. We've spoken about 29 being a key marker, so August the 29th. So those that haven't seen videos before, I suggest to go back and look at some of the ones we've done on my channel, but mainly the ones I've done with Charlie on his channel, which is a great medium. So 29, 29, 29. So August 29th, which was Judgment Day, as referred to in the Terminator 2 films. August 29th. So August, AUG, comes to 29. When you add 1 plus 21, comes to 22 plus G, which is 7, comes to, so 22 plus 7 comes to 29. And the date 29, so August 29. So if you see 58s, they're 2 sets of 29s. If you see 3 29s, that comes to 87. And the word on, O-N, so 15 plus 14, again comes to 29. So Arnold Schwarzenegger talks about pulling the plug, so the metaphor for draining the swamp, pulling the plug, and he says that the system goes live on August 29th. So again, President Trump has switched everything on, physically here in this room, but also higher dimensional stuff. Everything is switched on, everything is happening. So when you see 87, that's 29, 29, 29. Also, just something popped into my mind. People ask if we can do visual aids and a board, etc. Maybe we'll get to that. But one thing I would suggest, if you turn on captions, my voice is picked up pretty clearly on YouTube, so you'll be able to follow along and see the numbers that I'm talking about and the references and the words. Also, as well, you might be watching this on your phone, but if you've got a calculator handy, or you might be watching it on your laptop. If not, pull out your phone and get out the calculator app, and you can type in these numbers that we're talking about. So that might help people new to it, just kind of cut their teeth on it. So I thought that was really interesting about that, and also just some other comms today. So you'll see my T-shirt, Sunny Isle, Sunny comes to 93. My last name is Bushnell, which is actually 93 as well, so I quite liked that one. Isle equals 45, so 45th president for Trump. Also, my age is 45, so I quite like this one. Beach, I'm going to stand up for some of this. So beach is the next one, which comes to 19. So we've talked about 19 years later, from 9/11 up to 9/11 of 2020. So that will be 19 years later, this Friday, I believe. Resort here comes to 95. So there's other references with that, but if you add 9 plus 5, that comes to 14, which is Jasara. Here you might not be able to see everything, but I'm going to come up close and then I'm going to talk about the words. So you've got drinks, lounges, music, and then you've got cool, 310, and then you've got 392 61000. Okay, so I'm going to talk about these briefly. All right, guys and girls. So drinks comes to 75. That's my year of birth. But 75, in terms of Trumpology, 75 years ago, the last bomb in Nagasaki went off. That went off on the 9th of August 1945. That was 75 years ago, about 3 weeks ago. So when we entered the Lions Gate of 8/8, and when President Trump did that soft disclosure of potting the snooker ball, completing the 147 break, or the silver break, 1 times 47, and then he potted the other 3 balls, which was the pool ball, the 8 ball, and he potted 3 of them, so 3 8s. 38 is a reference to gold. He did that on the 8th, which was a soft reference to going back to the gold and silver standard. So the day after that, if you rewound 75 years ago, was Nagasaki. So literally 75 years later is when Trump did that potting of the balls. And he's made reference in press conferences, he's highlighted the number 75, and he said it's an important number. Also, the quantum financial system. So a few weeks ago, they made reference to the quantum computer systems that have been set up, and it was clearly said that it was $75 million each. Each of these systems, these centres, were $75 million each. So again, that's a direct reference to number 75. Lounges comes to 111. So those of you that see 11s everywhere, either 11 or 111 or 111, 111, 4 ones. There's a beautiful part there. So that's just a great one. So it's 111, which is 3, which is basically the basic beautiful numbers of 1 plus 2. So you think of male and female, they have the power to create a child. So that's 111, that's 3. So all those things, and there'll be other meanings with that as well. Music comes to 65. So we all love music. I'd assume most of us do, different styles. So 6 times 5 again comes to 30. So 30 again is that reference to silver and gold, because it's 22 plus 8. Cool. Okay, cool comes to 28. So 2 8s, which is 88 again. And then 310, I've spoken about this before, 310. So if you think of the film 310 to Yuma, there was an old film, I think it was Yul Brynner was in it, but the newer version had Christian Bale in it, who plays Batman in the Batman films, the Christopher Nolan films, which I love. And Batman, for those that haven't heard previous messages, Trump is the character of Batman, and Bruce Wayne is Trump. Hence, Trump is a billionaire, playboy billionaire, and he's also a vigilante clearing up Gotham City, or in this case, the world. Incidentally, just on Regent's Park is the US Embassy residence. So he's been there, and just across the street there's a few villas, and one of them is a Gothic villa. So you think of Batman, Gotham, Gothic. So it's quite a nice little interchange there as well. So Trump is Batman, the character Batman, and he's shown that many times. He talks about baseball, and he's been in the White House doing a bat action with the bat, saying he's a great batter, can hit them for 6, etc. Or hit them out the park. Park, P-A-R-K, is 46. That's the year that he was born. It's also the atomic number for palladium. So another precious metal. You've got gold, silver, they're the main ones, but you've also got palladium and platinum and palladium, etc., and others. So we know that he's a great batter. You think of the Wuhan thing, how bats, it started off with the fear of bats, etc. Batman's trilogy, the origins of Batman and Batman Begins starts off with Bruce Wayne as a boy overcoming the fear of bats. And his father is Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne, etc. And Superman's mother is Martha Kent. So you've got this whole thing with Martha as well going on, and there's a Thomas, etc. And there's Jonathan Kent. John is Silver, so John is Silver, adds up to Silver, 47, etc. John Connor in the Terminator films. John, John, John is Silver. Connor, Connor, comes to 79, which is atomic gold. So you've got atomic silver and atomic gold. Sarah Connor, his mother in the Terminator films. Sarah, S-A-R-A-H, comes to silver, atomic silver, 47. Connor again is atomic gold, which is 79. Those French listeners or French speakers will appreciate that France is 47. Add up the word France, F-R-A-N-C-E, comes to 47. On my call earlier with Leanne, one of the ladies, her last name, I'm sure she won't mind this because she's going to probably be on the show at some point, so is French, and that comes to 54. So 54, 5 times 4 is 20, breaks down to 8, etc. 5 plus 4 is 9, and you've got the top Tesla number, etc. So you can see how all of this goes. But going back to the Batman thing before I interject again, back to the T-shirt. So if you think of Batman, the character Batman, and Bruce Wayne, Batman, even Christian Bale, when he plays the character, he'll speak like this. So he's got his mask, and people talk about masks, etc. But people saying the mask of the mark of the beast. I like to call it the mask of the beast. So anyway, a bit of Trumpology there for you, a bit of fun. Joker, actually, that Trump is also is number 59. So if you start seeing that come up, the Joker card that can be played is 59, and Trump also is a joker, likes to joke and have fun. So he's got all the cards. He says he has all the cards. But yes, so Bruce Wayne, when Christian Bale's playing him, will speak. He doesn't speak much, but when he does, he'll go like that with his lips. Trump does that often. So when he's the trumpet, etc., but he'll speak like that. So that's again a direct reference. Christopher Nolan is very intertwined with all of this, with President Trump and Q, etc., and in all of his movies. Hence, they were the ones that some of the ones that were re-released after cinemas were shut. And we've got the big blockbuster TENET, which is out right now, which again is all about time reversal. So when Christopher Nolan, when Christian Bale speaks in Batman, it's like that. Bruce Wayne, his alter ego or his day-to-day personage, has Wayne Tower, and we know that Trump has Trump Tower. Now, also, when you think of another great film, was Wayne's World. Okay, so if you go from Batman, Bruce Wayne, Wayne's World, this is another reference to we are in Trump's world, and this will become clearer and clearer as time goes on. But we literally are in Trump's world. So that many of us that have woken up to this and seeing the numbers and seeing the signs and the symbols and all the connected dots, etc., are enjoying this beautiful 4 and 5 and 6 and beyond dimension reality of what's happening. But we are in it's Wayne's world. We are in Trump's world. And look up the numbers on Mike Myers, who was a star in Wayne's world. Maybe we'll talk about that next time. But maybe people can send me the numbers on that on the chat. Going back to my T-shirt, so 3:10 to Yuma. So Christian Bale is in this film, 3:10 to Yuma. President Trump has been going to the wall. Okay, he's been going to the wall down in Arizona, the great state of Arizona, and he's been there at least 3 times during this whole lockdown COVID thing. Okay, and he's there, and the reason he goes there there's a number of reasons. He's showing people the wall, etc., and how it will get to 300 miles, 300. Think of the films 300, etc. But 310 to Yuma, or Yuma, because this place Yuma physically is down by the wall in Arizona. Now 310 is a marker for a few things. One of which is a biblical reference, because remember the Trump team and Q have all said that this is going to be biblical, which it is. It might not be in the way that people thought, and I understand that, but nevertheless this is biblical. When was the world shut down? When were half or more wearing masks? When was all of this going on? When were people waking up to all the spiritual and conscious realities and the divine providence of all of this? So 310 to Yuma is a direct reference to 310, Malachi 3:10 at the end of the Bible in the Old Testament. So 3:10, Malachi 3:10 is a reference to basically God, the higher being, the higher forces, pouring out a blessing upon people, which is Nesara and Jesara. Okay, and it talks about the water pouring, saying that the windows of heaven will be opened. So things that maybe weren't manifest before, we weren't aware of, will be open. We'll see, we'll feel, we'll physically have those things. So that's why he's going down to Yuma, to 3:10 to Yuma, to Malachi 3:10. 392, which is another number on here. So there's some great things with that. So 3 plus 9 plus 2 equals 14. 93 is a nice flip on my name. I see, obviously I see things, but with that, but also 92. So my nickname is Numbers. Numbers adds up to 92. So I was nicknamed that by Greg and by Jack Kidd. They came up with that together. So Kronos naming me Numbers in terms of Greg, etc. But Kronos, the right to rule, that's President Trump all over. So, and then. So 3 times 10 as well. Sorry, 3 times 9 comes to 27, which again is another marker of kingship, the Egyptian trinity of kingship. And there's a reference to that in TENET, right at the end, with Kenneth Branagh. Have a listen to that. It's quite muffled when he says it, but it's in there, so have a listen to that. And Kenneth Branagh is someone I've actually met as well, so make of that what you will, people, but I'm glad to have these experiences. Also, 39 plus 2 comes to 41. Again, another marker to king, because we said earlier, talking about the salmon, that 41 is king. So the word king, K-I-N-G, adds up to 41. Now, the last part is 61,000. Now, 61 is something I discovered in the last week, and actually my Australian clients, Lulu, Leanne and Roy, or Leanne I should say, down in Australia, down under, their area code, the country code is plus 61. So I remember I figured something out about that, but 61 means many things, but one thing it does add up to is casino. So C-A-S-I-N-O, casino. Trump, as we know, has been in the industry of casinos. Okay, so he liked gold and silver and glitz and glamour. He loves sports. Sport, actually, S-P-O-R-T, adds up to 88. Okay, so that takes you back to things like the Sport Almanac, or the Sports Almanac in Back to the Future 2. And you saw all the other references to Biff Tannen, etc., like a kind of Trump character. That's how a lot of the world see him, but he's a divine being. And I'd like to call him Father Trump, because he literally is, and people will understand that in time. So 61 casino, but then you've got the 3 zeros at the end. Well, I mentioned at the beginning of today's episode how 0 can actually be represented as an O. So 3 O's are 15 times 3, which is 45, which is the 45th president, which is President Trump. So right at the end, you've got the casino, Trump's casino. So all the wealth, all the Jesara and Nosara, there's going to be some fun. Those that people can see this happen is going to be quite fun and enjoyable to see how all this plays out. But Trump's having fun with this, and we're having fun with it. Those that can see the light and want to see it more and more will continue to have more and more fun with this. Okay, so that's my t-shirt. I wanted to talk about President Trump. He spoke on the 4th from the White House press briefing room, and interestingly enough, because what happens is they'll put out broadcasts and they'll be live, and usually you've got to wait quite a long time. So President Trump will usually keep them waiting for quite a while just the broadcast. The broadcast will start quite early, and they'll be in there, and then he'll come out. So, but usually, quite often, they'll edit that part out of the White House once it's gone live, and they put it out as a post. Usually that part will go, but this time I'll include the link. But this time, President Trump's briefing, all that wait period was not edited out. It wasn't cut out. So that is a marker to pay attention to these times. So I've noticed that, and you can notice this when you play the video. I'll put the link in this video after. But he starts basically, so at 53 minutes and 31 seconds, the door opens. So the blue door opens. I like to think of the blue door like the TARDIS, Doctor Who fans, the blue TARDIS, etc. Interesting enough, here in Marylebone, there's a blue door with an office, and the person's name is Simon, Paul Simon. Paul Simon used to be married to Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher. Carrie Fisher's passed in 2016, but I don't know. Watch this space. Maybe we'll have a few comebacks. We'll see. Anyway, the blue door, and also the number on that door is 8. So the infinity number, which we're talking about. But anyway, it's 53:31. So the door opens, and then President Trump comes out. So 53. So 53 is 5 plus 3 is 8. 53 is also 5 times 3 is 15. And then 31 is a reference to gold, to a troy ounce of gold. So 31 grams equals a troy ounce of gold. So 8 plus 15, that comes to 23. Now 23 is a powerful number, and all numbers are good and great. What happened in time? They got hijacked by bad influences, etc. So, but all that's been cleared up. So things like 6, 31, 32, 33, 23, 666, all of these numbers are actually great divine numbers. They just got hijacked, kidnapped by bad forces. But all that's been cleared up. That's all going now. So don't worry about it. Just embrace the good numbers. And so 23 actually comes to I am. So I is 9, A is 1, M is 13. So 14 plus, so am, 1 plus 13 comes to 14. So 14 plus 9 comes to 23. So basically, as President Trump walks through the door, he's saying, I am gold. Okay, so we know that, but he is gold, so he's the one that's delivering the gold and the silver and the change of the world, and everything that means, not just the physical gold, but everything, the golden age that we're moving into, the millennial age, the age of Aquarius, the 1,000 years of peace. Also, if you do 8 times 31, that comes to 2 times 48, or 248, I should say. It comes to 248. So you break that down, that's 2 times 48. So that's actually 8 eighths, because 48 could be represented by 4 and 8, or even 5 eighths. So you could even get to 10 eighths out of that. But it's 2, 4, 8 is 2 times 4 sets of 8. So 8, 8. But also it could be 48 is also 5 eighths, so it could be 5, 2 5s, so it's a clear signal, so it's 10, 10, so it's 5 and 5. So this is how it works, so you can see you can get multiple messages from it. Okay, then he gets to the podium and he starts speaking at 53:38. Now 38 is gold, so when you add up the word GOLD, that comes up to 38. So gold is 38. So a lot of you will have 38 in your timelines, in your life. You'll start to see it more and more now. Now that you are aware of these numbers, you'll start to see them more. So again, it's a double reference. He's saying, again, I am gold. So he comes in through the door. 7 seconds later, he gets to the podium. So you can see the beauty of it. So you've got 8, you've you've got 7 again, and then you've got 8 again. So you've got 8, 7, which is 87, which is 3 sets of 29, which is August 29th, and on, when they switched everything on. And then you've got 78, which again is atomic number for platinum. But also, even if you don't have the 7, you've just got 8 and 8. So, at 53:38, he starts to speak. So again, it's a double reference to him saying, I am gold. So he did it 7 seconds before. So that's, again, a 5-5. That's a double reference. It's identical. And if you look at 8 times 38, that comes to 304. 30 plus 4 is 34. So that's Q, plus also Q plus. So Q spoke about Q and Q plus a long time ago. So 17 and another 17. But also you could go this way. You could go 3 plus. So if you temporarily isolate that 0 and don't ignore it, that can be the representation of the value of 15. So if you have 3 plus 15 plus 4, that also comes to 22, which again is the chemical symbol for gold, AU. So A is the first letter, U is the second, or is the 21st letter, so 1 plus 21 is 22. So AU comes to 22, and it's the first 2 letters of August. Okay. So then he says these things, which are really important, and I'd encourage you all to just have a listen to this. The thing about Trump is he tells us everything within the first few seconds of what we need to hear. Don't get me wrong, everything else that he says we need to, but he's so precise and so direct and so on point. He tells everything that needs to be said right within the first few moments of his opening. So he says this. He says, "Thank you." Thank you. So thank, T-H-A-N-K, comes to 54. The word you comes to 61. So that ties again in with the casino and the wealth of gold. So just think of that. But then, so thank you, so 54 plus 61 comes to 115, which when you add it together, so 1 plus 15 comes to 16. 16, we know are 2 8s, hence 8 8 again. Also, when we go into the next part of this, you've got every. So he says thank you, and he kind of pauses for a second, and then he says every, and he kind of speaks a little bit out. So you know that what he's saying is coming about. That wasn't what I was going to say as well for thank you. So thank you is 8 is 16, or it's 115, which is 1 plus 15, which is 16, which is 2 8s, which is 8 8. Okay, but also 115 is 5 times 11, which is 55, which is the clear and loud signal. Okay, that's what that is. The clear and loud signal can be 5 plus 5, which is 10, which we spoke about a few moments ago. It can also be 5 times 5, which is 25, but it also can be, and probably the loudest of them all, although they're all loud, is 5 and 5. Again, I've mentioned before, but Melania, his wife, her name adds up to 55. Melania adds up to 55. When I met Ivanka Trump in New York in 2015, a week or so before President Trump announced he was running, I got a photograph of Ivanka, and I hadn't noticed this for a long time. I've sent the picture out to a few friends and family over time. But when you zoom in over on the left of her, we're actually taking a picture in front of an office, which has the number 55, and it's a gold 55, but it's kind of hidden in plain sight. And I discovered that on the Lionsgate actually. So on the 9th of August, it was still the 8th of August over in the US, and out the Pacific, Hawaii, etc., and Alaska. Oh, Alaska, Salmon, I was going to mention that as well. So Salmon, Alaska, the whole time date thing with all these big events when they happen far out on the further time zones of the US, like Alaska and Hawaii, and then out as far as Midway. So you've got Alaska and Salmon. So that's another nice little piece to it. And Alaska is actually the 49th state, so 49 is 77. So 7 times 7, 77. Again, you've got that great number, 77. So, where were we? I've interrupted myself. Yes, 5-5. So clear signal, 5-5. Then he goes on to the next phrase, next part of the phrase, and he says this all within 2 or 3 seconds. He says every. So every comes to the value of 75. We've spoken about 75 previously, so he brings that up again. And then body, B-O-D-Y, comes to 46. He's the 46th president, but also atomic palladium is 46. So he's talking about the precious metals as well. But you add these two together, every body, 75 plus 46 comes to 121. Now those that are fans of the Back to the Future films will remember that Doc Brown's time machine, which has to be struck by lightning, the bolt, we've spoken before in episodes about Usain Bolt and the connection between Trump, they're both born in Jamaica, etc., the 8 gold medals. And anyway, it has to be struck by lightning, and it's 1.21 gigawatts, so 121 gigawatts. Okay, if you look up giga, this is, I don't fully understand this, but it seems like it's quantum, it's higher level mathematics, but it's a handicap system of making things equal. So when this all actually happens, when Jasara and Nasara and the reset and everything else happens, it's all going to be a level playing field for all of us. People won't lose things if they've been good people and their wealth. They won't lose those things, but people that have been downtrodden, etc., will be raised up, so it will be a fair playing field. But this gigawatt system is like the best way to describe it in simple terms is the handicap system in golf. Trump is a great golfer. He loves playing golf. I was talking to my friend David in Utah about that yesterday. He's a great golfer as well. And there's some great parallels and names with the game of golf that we can go into another time. And values, I should say, values with the names in golf. But gigawatt, if you look it up, Gigo, it's a system that they've got, a scoring system, which is a handicap system to make things fair. So that's coming as well. I'm sure that's tied in with all the quantum financial system. Then the next phrase he says is very much. Okay, so very comes to 70, much comes to 45. So again, the 45th president. But those two together come to again 115. So again, it's 16. So 1 plus 15 is 16, or 2 8s, which are 88. Again, it's a clear signal of 55 because it's 11 times 5, 55. But also, it's an even clearer signal. It's like a double signal because moments before he said thank you, and quite often people will say thank you very much. He says thank you very much all the time. So he's actually, when he says thank you very much, he's actually saying 88, 88, and he's also saying 55, 55 simultaneously with both phrases. And one of the reasons he broke that up to put the gigawatt part in is another piece of knowledge that we needed to understand or be open to. But thank you very much, they're identical numerical values, and he says that on all of his addresses when he opens up. And then he does this. I spoke at the beginning of the video, Trump will quite often take off letters of words at the beginning or at the end. And what he does is he pauses for a second and then he says, thank you. So he takes the TH off of the word thank. So ANK adds up to 26. And then again, the word U comes to 61. So ANK plus U, so ANK U, 26 plus 61 comes to 87. Again, 87 is 29, 29, 29. So it's reference to that word on. It used to be no for so many years, because no is the same value, 29, but it was flipped, it was reversed, it was switched. So everything is on now. So on, which is 29, on the 29th, or 29 August, AUG. So 29 on, 29 the date, 29th, and August, AUG, 29. So again, another reference to that. So he's referring back to what happened a week ago. Okay, so when you add all of those phrases together, so 115, 121, 115 and 87, you come to 351. Sorry, rewind, I misspoke. So 115 plus 121 plus 115 comes to 351. Now 351 can be a number of things, but one of the things I've noticed with this is 51, the reference to alien references, like higher dimensional technologies and beings. And we've had some of this for a long time, but it's been hidden. But now that's going to be put out to the people. So in terms of things like medical beds, total healing, Trump has said it, total healing. He's said these things in press conferences, but it kind of just goes past people. He said things like we don't need oil. He said things like mark it down. He said mark it down twice a few weeks ago. He's made other references to that. So all these things he's saying, but it's there, but he's telling us the truth. So that's 3 aliens. There are many more. But anyway, that's something that I took out of it. You'll also get other references and other numbers for it. So, but 351, and then add 87, which is Anq, that comes to 438. Okay, so 438, the one that was obvious to me first of all when I saw it was, well, we'll do that one last actually. So one that came out was 438. So 4 plus 38 comes to 42. Again, this time reversal thing. Okay, so that is a current theme right now. When I was talking about that the other day, I had to buy some batteries, and for the air conditioners, I kind of went funny, so I had to go and get some batteries, and it came to exactly £4.20. That's what the price of the batteries were, and they were the only batteries I could get. But it came to £4.20, which is 42 for time reversal. Also, again, the alien theme. So if you go 43 plus 8, so 43 plus 8 comes to 51, which again is alien. Now, something I've meant to say before in the past, alien, if you think of the word alien, you break it down, it's actually a-lean, okay, a lean. Trump has spoken about people, I saw an episode last night on Big Talk, or was it Big Talk? Top Talk? I can't remember. Long time ago, they still show it, I believe, it's on a BBC, Big Talk or Top Talk, I could be guys in England will recognise what I'm talking about, but he talked about people leaning on him because he was, a wealthy guy, etc. He said he doesn't mind if people lean on him, if they're good people, whether they're kind of at the top scale in society or lower, he's going to help people. But a lean, so think of that in terms of this whole thing of debt relief and liens. All those things are, they're not where we're going. So all those things are going to be changed. So anyway, alien, but a lean. So I wanted to put that out because I've been meaning to do for ages. But anyway, it's out there now. So the obvious one I thought when I saw the value of 438 was 438. So basically kind of 4 golds. So if you do 4 times 38, you come to 152, which breaks down to 15 plus 2, which is 17, which is Q. Incidentally, 15 plus 2 is my birth date, which is 15th of February. I'm an Aquarius, so that might make sense to why I'm kind of into these things and they seem to come to me. But also, which is, I discovered this week, is if you times the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, it comes to 152 plus a whole bunch of other numbers. And if you would continue going on, my calculator kind of doesn't really stretch that far, but if you keep going on, then the values lower down might change, but those key ones of 152 will pretty much be the same. So 152, because I think the next one is 4.4. But anyway, that's what it comes to, which is incredible. So again, 15 plus 2 comes to Q, which is 17. Okay, next word he says unprecedented. Unprecedented, not with a C but with an S. He says unprecedented, so think of that, which comes to the value of 154. 15 plus 4 equals 19. Again, another reference to this thing of 19. He did it a few days ago. I spoke right at the beginning of my last episode with Charlie when we were talking together. President Trump spoke clearly in the first few seconds of his comms about 19 and a few references to 19. So 19, September 11th is coming up. So it's 19 years ago that September 11th happened. So remember, he's reversing things. So good things are coming. Okay, so good things are coming. So that came up. Then he really stressed the word weekend. He said weekend. He just said weekend. He said it in context with just what he was saying, but he made a real point of weekend. Now, if you add up the word weekend, that comes to 67. Now, someone else's name that comes to 67 is Julian Assange. There's a lot of thoughts that Julian Assange is a nephew of President Trump, part of the Trump family. He's not who people have been thinking. And I just got a tweet actually from Jack Kidd. He forwarded it on, and it's from ET Friend on Twitter, who's saying that something about Julian Assange will come out tomorrow on Monday. So we'll see that. We'll look forward to that. But President Trump did make a point of saying weekend, and one of the references it's referring to is 67 equals Julian, so hence Julian Assange. And there'll be other ones as well, and if you figure those out, people, by all means, send them in the comments. I'd love to hear them. He also says spin, and he just says spin. He said the word, instead of he's saying the word it's been, like it's been, he says spin. Now spin comes to 58. Again, that equals 29 plus 29, which again is another reference to August 29, because August AUG is 29. And the whole thing with the casino, we know that he's a casino guy with his hotels and casinos, etc. But just prior to when he says going on, prior to when I let the cat out of the bag there. So prior to him saying spin, literally the second before, he says going on. And he says that at 53 minutes and 55 seconds. Okay, so 55 is a clear, loud, clear signal, as we've spoken about a few times now. But he does that deliberately on 51. So going on is talking about they've gone on to, they've switched everything on. Everything is switched on in terms of bringing this about. What it's actually saying is, so 53 plus 55, that actually comes to 108. Okay, so 108 is another number that we're going to play with. I think I might have mentioned it briefly on Charlie's previous, I think I might have done, or maybe I didn't, I can't remember, but it's something that's come up in the last few days. Now 108, it represents a number of things, but it's really super important. It's basically what all of this is. So remember, at 53 minutes and 55 seconds, so 55 on that marker, he says going on, okay? So they're on, it's a clear signal. But what this is it's basically to do with, well, it's the millennium, okay? That's what it is. It's Trump's millennium. We are in Trump's world, and whether people like it or not, he is the ruler of this earth, the universe. I've said it before, he's He-Man, he's all these characters, fictional characters and real characters throughout time in religions, and great people and leaders of the past. He's all of these. He's been on all the bases. Think of the Batman and the baseball reference on all the bases. The bases are loaded. Trump is here to seal and do everything. Okay, so this is what's come up in the last week and last couple of days. Twilight. So anyone that's seen the film TENET, right at the beginning of the film, they're doing the opening scene, and they talk about, he says, we live in a twilight world. We live in a twilight world, and he repeats it. I think he might repeat it 3 times, at least twice. I think it's 3 times. We live in a twilight world. So what's he saying? Twilight, Twilight, Twilight. Robert Pattinson, it's from the Twilight films. Looks like he might have tested positive. Don't know if that's a smoke screen or not, or another double buff. We'll see what happens with that. But anyway, Twilight, Twilight equals, guess what it equals? Yeah, you got it, 108. So 108 is 20 plus 88. So you've got 88, and then add another 20. Think 2020. You can make 20 and 8, etc. So another extra piece to the puzzle. But it's 108. Also, the word millennium itself equals 108. Millennium. So MILLENIUM. Millennium. Yeah, millennium equals 108. Now the reason I know this is I knew what millennium was a little bit beforehand. But in the newspaper, in the Sun newspaper here in England, we've got a tabloid paper called The Sun. Interesting, it's Sunday today. This came out, I think it was on Thursday. Interestingly enough, there was a bit of a boycott yesterday. You couldn't get the Sun newspaper. I don't know if it usually comes out. I think it comes out on a Saturday, but you couldn't get it. It wasn't really distributed. Other papers were out, but I find, I mean, they're all telling pieces of the truth, but I find the tabloids are kind of maybe less believable in people's minds, are actually the ones telling the most truth. So the Star, the Sun, probably the Mirror, a few others, the ones with the red markings, red, okay, Republican, etc. But anyway, it's telling people. So whether you like, I'm not into newspapers. I just like to see what the message. Well, I don't care where the messages come from. So it's not a political statement on that. It's just saying whatever's presented in front of you, see it. Okay. So Millenium equals 108. On Thursday, I believe it was, there was a made-up word on the front page of the Sun newspaper here in England, and the word was spliffany. SPLIFFANY, and it was a play on words. I think it was a girl, Tiffany. I think she's in a soap or actress or something. I don't watch the normal TV, so I don't follow all that. But anyway, and I think she'd been doing a joint or something, like a spliff. So they put it together, spliffany. But as soon as I saw that made up word, I was like, that's a marker, that's a key, that's a code. So if you add up spliffany, SPLIFFANY, that again comes to 108. So that was saying millennium right in front of people's faces. Twilight, okay, we live in a twilight world, we live in a millennial world, we're now into Trump's world. This has been switched on, okay. Again, my dear friend Jack Edward Kidd, his name adds up to a few things. If you add Aitken, it takes you to 164, which I spoke about a few episodes ago with Charlie. But in this case, Jack Edward Kidd comes to 108. And also another one I discovered was Spinal Tap. So the band Spinal Tap comes to 108 as well. So that might pop up in a bit of things in the next few days. We'll see. But the bottom line is, people, is that we are in the millennium. We're in the millennial period. That has been switched on. Now, I know this hasn't come in the way or shape or form that most people expected, me included, but I welcome it and I'm so grateful for it. Trump is literally taking us into a millennial period. It was switched on. The millennium is here, it's beginning. The switch happened on the 29th. Well, there's been a few switches, but a big switch happened then, and it will continue. And I'm just grateful for all of it. So thanks everyone for listening. I appreciate your time. It's been an honour to chat, and God bless. Thank you again to the Trumps and to Q. Thank you for everything that you do. Hi to all loved ones and friends. Charlie Ward, you're awesome. Thanks for everything you do. And God bless everyone. Till next time, take care. Bye-bye.